Team Target. All the best to everybody at iRacing Brazil.
And I hope all the iRacers in Brazil are having a lot of fun on iRacing.
Hi, I'm Justin Wilson. I want to say hello to all the iRacers down in Brazil. Hope you have fun, enjoy the racing, take it easy.
Hey, I'm Wyatt Gooden and iRacing Brazil, awesome league. You guys are great, cool league.
Mandar abraço aí pro pessoal do iRacing Brasil, continue jogando aí.
Aí galera, eu sou o Hélio Castro Neves, fique ligado no iRacing Brasil. Vamos lá, Brasil!
Vamos lá.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, iRacing fans from around the world, welcome to TNT Tuesday, Trucks on Tuesday. I am Scott Kolovic, your announcer for the evening. Tonight's live broadcast brought to you by All Pro Broadcasting with Michael D'Amico up on those cams, working us the night over. Big shout out to the sponsor of tonight, Jason Russo, Pro Automotive out of Dudley, Massachusetts. ASC certified mechanics taking care of your pro automotive needs out there in Dudley, Massachusetts. Big shout out to Jason Russo. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are at Charlotte Motor Speedway. We are driving the Chevy Silverados, Toyota Tundras. Great weather out here for tonight. 65 degrees track temp, 65 degrees air temp. These trucks certainly are going to stick on this 1.5 mile motor speedway. As I mentioned before, this is race 4 of 12. Going to take a quick look at our point chase after 3 completed races. Out there in the front on the points is Craig Kinney with 119, Mitchell Reeves in second with 118, Nathan Sylvia sitting in third with 110, Donald Stewart sitting in fourth with 96, and Robert Chipman sitting in fifth at 95. Now, what's interesting about this, with the top 5 drivers, none of those drivers have actually yet won a race in the TNT series on the first 3 races. Those wins belong to Ryan Kuhn, winning race 1 and 2, Steve Dutz winning 3. But unfortunately, Ryan Kuhn did miss race 3. And that sent him all the way back down to position 9 in the point chase. Being here for every Tuesday night race, very important factor in that point chase. Now next week, as we do roll on to race 5, we'll be coming at you from Chicagoland. That is my personal home track. Chicagoland, going to be some good stuff coming to you next week at Chicagoland. These drivers right now are currently doing their qualifying runs. Taking a look through at a few of the drivers out here tonight representing. We've got the number 21 of Greg McClendon, sponsor for our Friday night series. He's joining us tonight. Number 73, Justin Anderson. Boy, he put on a show last night, ladies and gentlemen. Joining us tonight as well is the number 81 of Chad Roy and the number 3 of Mark Jackson. Big shout out to Mom and Patty, hopefully out there on that All Pro Broadcasting chat. Our Monday night sponsor, Richard Brose tonight, driving the number 26. Good to see you, Richie B, Monday night sponsor. Jason Russo joining us tonight as well. Big shout out to Jason Russo. We've got the Young Guns, Jarrett Lipster and Tristan Beats joining us. We're going to see a lot of action out of them. as well as the KOA Season 2 winner, the number 2 of Mitchell Reeves, joining us in his normal number 2 tonight. Big shout out to Mitchell Reeves. James Lehman tonight in the number 5. Want to give a big shout out to Mr. and Mrs. Lehman. James told me earlier that Mom and Dad Lehman are out here and going to watch James hopefully put on a very good show tonight. He was a powerhouse last night in the Monday Mania race we had. James Lehman, always a great man, a great young man involved with the United States military. So a big shout out to James Lehman. A couple of more big shout outs. One to PAD, People Against Distracted Driving. We here at KMA and APB are big supporters of PAD. Check them out. People Against Distracted Driving. PADD.org. Big shout out to Over the Top Paints and Designs. A lot of these trucks out here tonight have been painted up by John Hedrick with Over the Top Paints and Designs. Big shout out to the painter out there. Check them out on Facebook at Over the Top Paints and Designs. Keeping an eye out there on that All-Pro Broadcasting chat, already heating up. Michael Lawler talking about his hometown near Chicagoland. And I tell you what, I'm a little bit south of you, sir. Will not actually give away my home city, but just a little bit of a stone's throw away from Michael Lawler. Big shout out to Becky Whitmer joining up on that All-Pro Broadcasting chat. Going to be out here tonight rooting on her son, Gary Whitmer Jr. tonight in the number 20. Gary Whitmer is with GW Graphics, our replay sponsor. Big shout out to Gary Whitmer and Becky Whitmer. Drivers are getting ready to get their cars lined up on this 1.5 mile speedway. Big shout out to the grid sponsor, PAD, People Against Distracted Driving. Taking home that number 1 pole position spot tonight, folks, is the number 72 of Ryan Kuhn, pulling down a 28.583 tonight here at Charlotte. Side by side with the number 21 of Greg McClendon, 28.614. Number 5, James Lehman with a 28.631, side by side with the number 73 of Justin Anderson with a 28.634. Fifth place belonging to the number 81, Chad Roy with a 28.637. Number 3, Mark Jackson, position 6 tonight. Nathan Sylvia in the number 29, position 7. Steve Dutz, number 48, position 8. Number 74 of Abe Bowden, position 9. And rounding out the top 10 on that outside is our sponsor for the evening, number 14 of Jason Russo with a 28.654. Position 11, the number 90 of Craig Kinney, side by side with the number 2 of Mitchell Reeves in position 12. The number 33, Vernon Margheim, P13 tonight. Young Gun, number 1, number 99 of Jarrett Lipster, position 14. Young Gun, number 2, number 211 of Tristan Beats, position 15. And number 15 of Ronald Hartfield, P16. Ronald Klein in position 17 in his usual number 76. Number 19, Donald Sadusky, position 18 tonight. Lee Ryerson Jr., position 19. And our sponsor for Monday Night Mania, Richard Brose, position 20. Number 6, Chris Hogue, position 21. Raymond Rittenauer, position 22. The number 30 of Mike Krapinski, position 23. Ivan Garcia, position 24. Judd Danielson, position 25. Also looking at Rusty Farrell, Chris Reese, Donald Stewart, Jeff Renz, Brian Rainville, Michael Johnson, Gary Burt, Gary Whitmer, David Whiteside, and Chuck Nix in the rear of the field. All righty, ladies and gentlemen, all starts and restarts are done on leader's discretion. There is no advancing your position before that start-finish line. There's no changing lanes before that start-finish line. Doing everything we can to keep these drivers in line tonight out here in Charlotte. Now today we did make one very important change, ladies and gentlemen, due to the heavy traffic of the cautions. A backup vehicle was taken away from these drivers. These drivers tonight are equipped with one backup vehicle, so they've got to take care of them. And there goes the number 72 of Ryan Kuhn off on the straightaway, doing a great job out there, getting out there in front, way up there in front of the number 21 of Greg McClendon. The number 5, James Lehman, already advancing himself one position to the front of the number 21 of the 21 of Greg McClendon. 21 Greg McClendon up into that high lane. Going to allow the possible safe passage of the number 81 of Chad Roy. Thought Chad Roy was actually going to try to pass the number 21 of Greg McClendon, but I was wrong in caution. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, as the number 88. The number of 88, Gary Burt. Going to look at that on our GW replay. Appears that the 88 of Gary Burt coming into contact with Joel Guy in the number 91. Not sure who was at fault right there, but somehow they kind of looks like they met in the middle as the number 91 of Joel Guy and the number 88 of Gary Burt bring out the first caution. That was a little bit of a stunner, ladies and gentlemen. Now, as we mentioned, the law was laid down with these drivers. That there will cost Gary Burt and Joel Guy. They're one truck. They've got one more out there in the garage. Not quite sure what happened right there. Hopefully that will be the only caution of the night. Big shout out to Pro Automotive, bringing us the racing coming to you on a Tuesday night. Going to give us a chance to talk with Ryan Kuhn very briefly. How about it, Ryan Kuhn? Have you got a copy, sir?
Yes, sir.
All righty. We were talking about you during the qualifying rounds. I made an interesting observation that you have dropped down to 9th place in the point chase because of your absentee on race 3, even though you have won races 1 and 2. So we definitely missed you last week. Talk to us about what your plan is tonight.
Our plan is to stick up front around the top 5 area the whole race. I think if we could stick up here and get some good pitch strategy, I think we can be up here to win this thing.
Alrighty, copy that. Now tell us the keys to success for you here at Charlotte on this cool night.
Well, the key for tonight is just you kind of want to keep it as wide open as you can. It's gonna be a momentum. It's gonna come down to a momentum race. If you get the momentum off the corner, I think it'll be good. You just gotta hug that white line for most of the run, and the group might come up a little bit on the track as the run goes on. But it's going to be a good race to watch tonight. Hopefully there's less cautions and we can run this thing green a lot tonight.
All righty, copy that. Big shout out to you, Mr. Kuhn.
Thank you.
How about it, James Lehman? Have you got a copy, sir?
Yes, sir.
All righty, I did want to make sure I get a special interview with you right off the bat. Big shout out to Mom and Dad. Going to give you a chance to say hi to them. So it's all yours, buddy.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad.
All right, more importantly, talk to me about this track and your thoughts on it tonight.
This track can either be really nice to you or really suck. It's similar to Dover. It's kind of got the same curse, the lady in the black, but it's really to the lady in the yellow, so.
All righty, we'll copy that. As you know, the restriction has been placed upon the amount of backup vehicles tonight. Do you think these drivers are going to take that to heed?
Some of them will, but some of us won't. Some of us are just still going to drive the same way we are because we can control our cars. And then the other ones are going to try but fail and be out of the race sooner. Hopefully it will clear up more cautions so we get more green flag running.
All right, copy that. Well, we hope to see a lot out of you tonight, and a big shout out to Mom and Dad Lehman.
Thank you.
And these drivers are getting ready to go back to some green flag racing, or at least we hope so. Big shout out to the fans out there. Definitely a little bit of a rough start here, but it does happen. And as I mentioned earlier, the law has been laid down to these drivers. So we're going to see some green flag pit stops hopefully tonight at Charlotte. Those are awfully fun to watch on this 1.5 mile motor speedway. Pitting not really that big of an issue. Plenty of room to get her down. Get her down into pit road. That pit road speed limit does set at 50 miles per hour. Now a little bit about the lap times here, ladies and gentlemen. They're looking at lap times of about 28.5s, 28.6. On the slow side would be the low 29s. So here at 100 laps, underneath green flag racing conditions, it could be a very short night here at Charlotte. Big shout out to Kristen out there tonight, rooting on her favorite man, number 3 of Mark Jackson. Hope Mama Patty's out there watching on the chat. And away we go one more time. Ryan Kuhn, James Lehman side by side, jockeying in there for that position. What a great start there by Ryan Coons and the number 5 of James Lehman. Every great race begins with a very great start. And ladies and gentlemen, that was indeed a very good start. Dropping back to Greg McClendon and Steve Dutz racing very hard. Steve Dutz down onto the inside. Going to make that inside pass on the number 21 of Greg McClendon. Greg McClendon losing a little bit of momentum. Greg McClendon losing a little bit of momentum there, as the number 3 of Mark Jackson does come up onto the rear end of the number 21. Caution is out, ladies and gentlemen. Going to back it up. Taking a look at it. Going to find out what happened here on this All-Pro Broadcasting replay. Happened there behind the wall. Going to back up those cameras and figure it out. As there's contact with Abe Bowden and the number 73. The number 73 belonging to Justin Anderson. It does appear that the number 73 of Justin Anderson possibly drifting up into the lane of Abe Bowden. Also see a little bit of net code in there. Does appear to be a little bit of net code right there, as the two trucks did indeed merge. But the second caution of the evening, belonging to the number 73 of Justin Anderson. Now that is very unlike the number 73 of Justin Anderson. But I tell you what, catching that action out on that All-Pro Broadcasting replay, that is kind of interesting to watch how those trucks did merge into one. I oftentimes talk about how two objects cannot occupy the same space, but indeed, the same space was occupied by the number 73 and the number 74, bringing out our second two early cautions tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Again, these drivers, they've got, well, one more backup truck, and we have 4 drivers already currently down to one backup vehicle tonight. I tell you what, these drivers are going to get a wake-up call very soon. This overdriving of this track, with only having one reset, we may only have 1 or 2 drivers left by the end of the night. Going to give us a chance to talk to Steve Dutz. How about it, Steve Dutz? Talk to me.
Yeah, hello, how are you?
All right. I'm doing very good. Hoping these drivers do get her settled down. Talk to me about what's going on out here tonight at Charlotte with you.
Oh, it's going pretty good. It's really depends on how your tires are going to handle the night. It can be sideways or it can be real tight and you can come up and hit the wall. It's the unknown is what I would say tonight. It's going to be one heck of a night.
Alrighty, well, copy that. Steve, you and I have spent a lot of time talking about how aggressive or unaggressive to be and when to be aggressive, and you are a great example of a driver that has flourished and grown into a complete powerhouse out here. I see you're up there in front. You had qualified there at 8th, and you just kind of like walked your way right up there to the front. But now that you're in front, Barring green flag runs, are you going to stay up here? Are you going to drop to the back again?
I'm probably gonna stay up here because there's no place better than the front. So it seems like we have some people already out of the race, but we're gonna stay up front and see if we can put this baby in victory lane tonight, and see if we can time it when to be aggressive and when not to be.
Alrighty, copy that. Good luck to you tonight, Steve.
Thank you.
And that was Steve Dutz. Joining up us in the booth is the number 3 of Mark Jackson. How you doing, Mark?
Hi, Scotty.
I want to let you know that we have got Kristen and Mama Patty out there on that All-Pro Broadcasting chat. I want to give you a chance to say hello and then talk to us about what your thoughts are so far tonight on lap 10.
Well, we wanted to say hello to my fiance and my mom up there in the stands. Just trying to take care of the truck because we have some new rules here in the KMA race tonight, and you only get one reset. So if you don't take care of that truck and you find yourself in trouble, you're going to be in the back of the pack. So just trying to take care of it right now. It's a long way to go.
All right, you copy that, and good luck to you, Mark Jackson.
Thank you, Scotty. Just want to say thanks to KMA, and want to give a shout out to PAD, People Against Distracted Driving, and Pro Automotive, Jason Russo's little shop down there.
Mark Jackson, give us some big shout-outs right there. Mark Jackson will be restarting in 4th position. 2 early cautions, ladies and gentlemen. Do not get discouraged. These drivers are going to get it together. Ryan Kuhn, Steve Dutz, side-by-side restart. No lead changes as of yet. Ryan Kuhn so far. Dare I say, Ryan Kuhn dominating the first 11 laps here at Charlotte. I tell you what, folks, you got to have a little bit of fun with it out here sometimes. Pace car is in, and there goes Ryan Kuhn once again off to the races. Side-by-side action with Steve Dutz and James Lehman. Steve Dutz and James Lehman, both young drivers, doing a very good job out here. Ryan Kuhn is a young driver, sitting back there in 4th place. One of the veteran drivers here, number 3 of Mark Jackson. Watching Steve Dutz down onto that inside lane. Going to try to make the inside pass off of the number 5 of James Lehman. Steve Dutz with a little bit more momentum on that inside lane. Steve Dutz trying to fight back, coming down, falling back in line as Steve Dutz does indeed roll up. Looking at that rear view mirror, though, of Steve Dutz, we have got Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson trying to make a big run tonight, trying to get his way up to the front. On the rear end of Mark Jackson, we've got the number 81 of Chad Roy and the number 90 of Craig Kenny. These drivers right now, positions 2 through 5, tighter than a hair in a biscuit. Steve Dutz, position 2, number 5 of James Lehman. Mark Jackson, 3rd in line on that outside, but right now being challenged by Chad Roy. Chad Roy, you cannot miss that number 81 green Chevy Silverado, shining out here in this bright night sky here at Charlotte. Chad Roy trying to get underneath the number 3 of Mark Jackson, not quite able to do it, doing everything he can to complete that pass. Chad Roy has got the number 90 of Craig Kenny behind him down on that inside lane. Maybe Craig will get up there and try to give a little bit of help to the 81 of Chad Roy, but Chad Roy just cannot get that run to get around Mark Jackson. Been trying for 2 laps now. Both drivers opting for the same line on the outside, but Chad Roy diving down deep into that corner. Chad Roy almost side by side with the number 3 Gravedigger. There goes Chad Roy. He's almost nose to tail. One more time down that back side to side with Chad Roy, Mark Jackson. Chad Roy digging deep on lap 16, but this side-by-side racing, that is allowing the top 3 to run away. Mark Jackson, Chad Roy battling very hard for position 4. Once again, Mark Jackson with a big run on that outside. Chad Roy coming back on the inside, getting a little bit of help from the number 90 of Craig Kenny. Now, Craig Kenny is not tighter than a hair in a biscuit quite yet on the number 81, but he is getting enough of that air pocket where he's trying to push the 81 around. But unfortunately, the inside lane giving out as Mark Jackson and Nathan Sylvia start to progress forward here on that outside lane. One more time, Chad Roy to the inside on the side panel of Nathan Sylvia. Great side-by-side racing right there, allowing Mark Jackson a little bit of a runaway and a little bit of a cushion zone. Nathan Sylvia on the outside of the number 81 of Chad Roy. Craig Kinney in that middle. Craig Kinney possibly thinking about splitting that middle up through Chad Roy and Nathan Sylvia. Chad Roy and Nathan Sylvia side by side, battling for position 5 here on lap 18. Now they are starting to heat it up. Craig Kinney in a situation he could go 3 wide. Will he go 3 wide? I certainly hope that he will not go 3 wide, but he is in a position. He is looking at it. He is looking at it very closely right now, and he can, but he will not. Good decision early on by Craig Kinney, resisting the temptation of that 3 wide here at Charlotte in race 4 in the TNT Tuesday Night Truck Series. I tell you what, folks, I am keeping them cameras on this action for 3rd, 4th, and 5th place with Chad Roy, Nathan Sylvia, and Craig Kinney 4th, 5th, and 6th. Nathan Sylvia leading this little bit of a 3-pack, and they are beginning to catch back up with Mark Jackson. Nathan Sylvia within a stone's throw as Craig Kinney trying to come underneath Nathan Sylvia. Side by side once again, Craig Kinney and Nathan Sylvia getting very tight here on lap 20 of this 100-lap race. Craig Kinney getting a little bit of a run on the inside. Will make the successful pass. I think he can. Nathan Sylvia fighting back as they head down that backstretch. Coming up on the rear end of the number 3 of Mark Jackson. One more time, Craig Kinney up in front, opening the inside door and contact with the number 81 of Chad Roy, and it appears the number 19 of Donald Sadusky. 3rd caution of the night is out, ladies and gentlemen, as 81 of Chad Roy making contact with the number 19 of Donald Sadusky here on lap 21. Now I'm hearing that we did have 2 separate wrecks, ladies and gentlemen. The one that I did see was the one involving the 81 of Chad Roy and the number 19 of Donald Sadusky. Appeared Donald just kind of coming up, giving a little bit of love right there to the 81 of Chad Roy. Unfortunate break for Chad Roy as he does get the worst end of that deal. Donald Sadusky seemingly unscathed, but that will definitely cost the number 81 of Chad Roy one of those backup trucks. Looking at the number 146 as he does try to escape the spinning truck of Chad Roy, taking a little bit of front end damage, possibly going to be able to get in there and get that one fixed. But Chad Roy, no doubt about it, using up one of those trucks. That will bring out our 3rd caution of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. Pretty sure these leaders will be going into pit row. Greg McClendon is in pit row. Ryan Coons, Steve Dutz making their pit row strategy. James Lehman as well doing a pit stop. That will put Greg McClendon out there in that number 1 spot, looking very sharp in the Blaze Pizza, number 21 tonight. How about it, Greg McClendon? Have you got a copy, sir?
Yes, Greg, go ahead, buddy.
All righty. How are you doing out here tonight at Charlotte?
You know, Scott, it's different. I'm kind of hoping that people kind of settle down and kind of let the race kind of come to them, because that way we can put on a good show for these fans here. But with the one reset now, actually is kind of making guys think twice about making moves now. So I actually kind of like that strategy. Protect your equipment and race when when the time comes.
Copy that. Very good advice right there. Now, you started off in position 2 tonight, and you're going to give up that position 1 on our 3rd caution to go into pit row. What is your strategy out here with doing that?
Well, in my experience, Scott, there are going to be people on different tire agendas at some point in a 100-lap race if it plays out. My job now is to take advantage of those people who chose incorrectly and make, with timing pits, make a run towards the front when of course, when the time comes, which is, I figured probably with 20 to go or whatnot. So basically, I'm just kind of riding around right now, and I know I can do some great things here on 4 tires, given that we've already had enough attrition here already. So it's going to be a big tire gain from here to the finish if we go green from here.
All right, very briefly, tell us about Blaze Pizza.
Well, Blaze Pizza was born out in California, but is coming to a neighborhood near you. We have basically big friendly smiles, lively fun interactions. We always say yes. Zoom go really fast, and we always exceed expectations. So that's Blaze in a nutshell, and we serve the best pizza. With no disrespect to my buddy Richie B, who's my teammate over at KMA. But we serve a pretty good pizza, and I think give us a try. I think you guys won't be disappointed.
All righty, copy that. Good luck to you, Mike Gregg.
Thanks a lot, Scott.
All righty, ladies and gentlemen, underneath our third caution, 2 lead changes. Steve Dutz and Ryan Kuhn out there in front. Big shout out to Pro Automotive, our Tuesday night sponsor out here. Jason Russo doing a great job right now, currently in position 13. As I mentioned, ladies and gentlemen, these drivers have had one of their backup trucks stripped away from them. It may take a few laps for these drivers to take on that realization. On to our restart. Steve Dutz out there in front, side-by-side racing with Ryan Kuhn and James Lehman. Number 19, Donald Sadusky, right now in position 4. Craig Kinney in position 5. Donald Sadusky riding very heavily on the rear end of the number 5 of James Lehman. Coming up, thinking about going on that inside lane. Steve Dutz large and in charge out here, but getting a big challenge from Ryan Kuhn, as well as James Lehman and Donald Sadusky and Craig Kinney. Top 5 drivers out here tonight. Top 6 drivers, as we have got to include the number 3 of Mark Jackson and the number 29 of Nathan Sylvia. Now these drivers, these front 8, very tightly packed together, needing to work together, trying to set the example out here. Cameras on the number 19 of Donald Sadusky, seeming to be the active man on the track tonight. Donald Sadusky in position 4. Just following the number 5, James Lehman, around here on lap 29. James Lehman in front of Donald. In his rearview mirror, watching the number 90. Action up in front with the leader, Steve Dutz, Ryan Kuhn. Ryan Kuhn and Steve Dutz starting to heat things up tonight here at Charlotte. Ryan Kuhn trying to get underneath the inside of the number 48 of Steve Dutz. Steve Dutz doing everything he can to hold off the number 72. Got to be smart, got to be fast, got to be safe out here at Charlotte. Beautiful night out here, 65-degree weather, 65-degree track. These tires doing a very good job of sticking tonight. Watching the number 72 all over the rear end of the pink Chevy Silverado monster truck. Steve Dutz down to the inside. Ryan Kuhn going to take a shot at that outside lane. Steve Dutz coming up, getting a little block in there. Steve Dutz not yet ready to be passed here at Charlotte. Ryan Kuhn backing up, getting a big run. There he goes to that outside lane. Going to try to make it happen one more time on that outside lane, trying to get her to stick. Tighter than a hair in a biscuit, almost side to side with Steve Dutz, Ryan Kuhn. In the rearview mirror, though, James Lehman and Donald Sadusky watching all of this happen. Have a feeling that James Lehman is getting ready to strike and move. James Lehman with a big run on the inside lane, back up to the outside lane. Ryan Kuhn all over the number 48, trying to make her happen tonight. He's got an opening. He has an opening, and he is not quite able to get it right there through the door. Coming up on the lap traffic of the number 28. Safe passage. Thank you, lap traffic. Donald Sadusky getting around the number 5 of James Lehman, overtaking the number 4, position 4 and number 3 spot. Donald Sadusky right now eyeing the rear end of the number 72 of Ryan Kuhn, opting to stay a little bit below the chosen lane of Ryan Kuhn, hoping that Ryan Kuhn will open up that left side door in that Toyota, allowing Donald Sadusky the big run. But there goes James Lehman. Great racing up here. 4 positions, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Tighter than a hairy biscuit right there. There goes James Lehman. Coming underneath the number 19 of Donald Sadusky. James Lehman right now slow and steady, but getting her done out here tonight on lap 34. Steve Dutz, Ryan Kuhn, Donald Sadusky, James Lehman, our top 4 tonight here in race 4 of Charlotte. Top 5 trucks actually with a slight runaway. Nathan Sylvia bringing up position 7. Beyond that, the nearest truck is about a second and a half back, belonging to Mark Jackson. So ladies and gentlemen, these top 7 drivers tonight in it to win it. Top 7, Steve Dutz, Ryan Kuhn, top 1 and 2, and there they go one more time. Ryan Kuhn trying to make an inside pass on the number 48. 48 being driven by Steve Dutz and Ryan Kuhn. I think I can, I think I can, I think I am, I think I might. He is trying, but Steve Dutz says, not today, young man, as he comes back on that outside lane. These top 4 spots belonging to 3 young drivers, 1 veteran, the veteran being Donald Sadusky. And there goes Steve Dutz on the inside of the number 72 of Ryan Kuhn. I tell you what, this is racing, ladies and gentlemen. What a job up here by Ryan Kuhn. A little bit of door scraping right there. Donald Sadusky watching it happen, watching it develop. James Lehman on the outside lane. Donald Sadusky down on that inside lane onto the rear end of the number 48 of Steve Dutz. Ryan Kuhn protecting that lead. Donald Sadusky letting out of it, allowing the number 5 to get by. Great move right there by Donald Sadusky, keeping her safe and clean and green on lap 38. Once again, Steve Dutz on the charge against the number 72, letting off a little bit, allowing the number 5 of James Lehman to stay right in line. Right now, top 3 drivers pretty much holding the identical line out here, knowing they have actually got to work together, but dropping back to Nathan Sylvia in 5th place. A little bit more exciting action right there with Nathan Sylvia, Donald Sadusky, and Craig Kinney battling hard for 4th, 5th, and 6th. Side-by-side action with the number 90 of Donald Sadusky. Craig Kinney losing a little bit on that inside entry, but gaining it on the exit way. Donald Sadusky, Craig Kinney, side by side. Both of these drivers eyeing the number 29 of Nathan Sylvia. But once again, this side-by-side racing, allowing the number 29 to advance his position up just a little bit. Craig Kinney being able to overtake Donald Sadusky, but Donald Sadusky fighting back, dropping down to that inside lane, trying to get the inside run as the door is left open. Looking at the number 29 of Nathan Sylvia. Nathan Sylvia rapidly advancing his gain up onto Steve Dutz. I tell you what, folks, these young drivers up here showing it how it is to be done tonight. Nathan Sylvia, big run up onto the pink Chevy Silverado by Steve Dutz. Nathan Sylvia to the inside of Steve Dutz. Nathan Sylvia getting a big run, able to pass on the inside of Steve Dutz. Good pass by Nathan Sylvia here on lap 41. Tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, I hate to take you away from this action, But we do have our own sponsors to pay, so we are going to take a very quick commercial break here on lap 42.
Hey, this is Garrett Smithley, driving the number 0 JD Motorsports Chevrolet, and you're watching All Pro Broadcasting.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Great commercial break right there. Big shout out to Pro Automotive. Ryan Kuhn, James Lehman up here in positions 1 and 2. And ladies and gentlemen, we are at the halfway point, and we are still underneath green flag racing here at Charlotte. Ryan Kuhn has stretched that lead out on the number 5 of James Lehman by an entire second. Sitting in third position is the number 29, Nathan Sylvia, trying to work his way around the lap traffic of the number 73 of Justin Anderson. Nathan Sylvia sitting in third place. Craig Kinney in fourth place, 3 seconds back, having his hands full with the number 48 of Steve Dutz. I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, these drivers tonight doing an extraordinary job. Great action there with Steve Dutz and Craig Kinney. These drivers out here tonight getting very comfortable, doing a very great job here at Charlotte in race 4 of the TNT series. I'll tell you what, I really enjoy watching Steve Dukes and Craig Kinney watching these two drivers battle it out here. Steve Dukes all over the rear end of the number 90 Craig Kinney GoPro, trying to get on that outside lane. They are going to come up to the number 28, the 28 being driven by Ivan Garcia, allowing the safe passage of our leaders out here tonight. Ivan Garcia currently 3 laps down. Thank you, Ivan, for being a stand-up guy and letting these leaders race their way by. Steve Dukes, Craig Kinney, positions 4 and 5, side by side, hard racing. But in their rearview mirror comes the number 75 of Rusty Farrell, position 6, all over the rear end of Steve Dukes. Number 90, Craig Kinney, Craig Kinney, I do believe, making a green flag pit stop. There goes the number 90 into pit row. Craig Kinney in position 4 going into pit row, going to lose several positions, but we talked about those green flag pit stops here at Charlotte. Let's keep our cameras and looking at the number 90 of Craig Kinney in pit row. Craig Kinney taking right sides on that GoPro Chevy Silverado. Craig Kinney taking left sides. Hey, big shout out to Craig Kinney successfully making a green flag pit stop out here at Charlotte. Now let's make sure that he does exit this pit stop in the correct manner. Craig Kinney knows that these drivers are supposed to stay down below onto that apron line until they get onto the backstretch and up to speed. Craig Kinney, what a great way showing how it is done out here tonight. Checking back up in front with James Lehman and Nathan Sylvia. Right now, positions 1 and 2 respectively. Nathan Sylvia being challenged by the lap traffic of the number 15. The number 15 of Ronald Hartfeld. Ronald Hartfeld right now 3 laps down. Nathan Sylvia in position 3, about a second and a half back of our race leader, Ryan Kuhn. James Lehman stuck in the middle between Ryan Kuhn and Nathan Sylvia in position 2. Equal distance between either spoken of driver. Nathan Sylvia losing a little bit of momentum there as the number 15 lap traffic of Ronald does try to challenge the number 29 coming up on that inside. Going to make the pass on the number 29, Nathan Sylvia. Great racing tonight out here at Charlotte. Ladies and gentlemen, I promised you these drivers would indeed get it together, and it does appear that indeed they have. We're going to go look for some more exciting traffic to give you an update with. Going to take a look at the number 7 of Chuck Dix. Chuck Dix is in position 20 right now, racing against Gary Burt in the number 88. Now Gary Burt has fallen to 3 laps down. Chuck Dix is still on that lead lap. Word on the track is the number 6. The number 6 of Chris Hogue. Chris Hogue going into pit row. Chris Hogue going in for a green flag pit stops. Ladies and gentlemen, those green flag pit stops are starting to cycle through. Looking at Chris Hogue going into pit row, driving the 3-year anniversary KMA Chevy Silverado. Big shout out to John Hedrick. He was the painter that did paint up that KMA 3-year anniversary truck. Still enjoy seeing that. Speaking of which, ladies and gentlemen, April 21st, KMA will be 4 years old. Big shout out to all the fans and the followers out there rooting us on every night. Appears, unfortunately, that Chris Hogue stalled out in pit row, must have received a pit row penalty right there going in. They'll hold you for 15 seconds. Another driver going in tonight is the number 20 of Gary Whitmer Jr. All righty, Becky Whitmer, we're going to watch your son go into pit row, and the caution will spring. Ladies and gentlemen, looking at Richie B. Richie B, I believe, in the number 26 tonight. Not sure what happened with Richie B, but Richie B was actually parked in the center of the track. Going to back those cameras up. And it does appear that indeed Richie B got rear-ended by the number, let me get a number on that truck, and it was indeed the Michael Johnson. Does indeed appear that the 004 of Michael Johnson coming up way too fast onto the rear end of Richie B and pretty much taking Richie B to the wall as some green flag pit stops were happening by Gary Whitmer. Well, I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, what a run we had, though. That will bring out our fourth caution of the night, though. Unfortunately, break 4. Richie B. Now all these drivers will be going into pit row this time for sure. These drivers are looking at approximately I do believe about a 30-31 lap fuel load. And in the pit entryway of pit row, we do have trouble going into pit row as Mark Jackson. Looking at Mark Jackson, a little bit of trouble going into pit row. Mark Jackson doing a little bit of a donut there as he got rear-ended. Backing those cameras up. A little bit of chaos going into pit row. Actually looking at Donald Sadusky and the number 6, Donald Sadusky and Chris Hogue. And that is where the trouble started going into pit row. As Mark Jackson was trying to avoid that said caution. Mark Jackson unfortunately turning the Chevy Silverado sideways as he was trying to get it back under control. Chaos on the outside of pit row on lap 62. Ryan Kuhn, James Lehman out there in positions 1 and 2. Nathan Sylvia sitting in position 3. Going to get a chance to talk to Nathan Sylvia. How about it, Nathan Sylvia? You got a copy, sir?
Yes, sir.
Alrighty, how you holding up out here tonight at Charlotte?
Doing pretty good. We qualified 6th, and we're holding out pretty good. Our highest position right now is 3rd. I feel like late in the run it gets get really tight. I should have pitted a little bit more earlier than I was going to. I was going to just run it dry, but the caution came out and it saved me.
Well, I'll tell you what, we had a mighty good run right there. We had drivers going in there for pit row, green flag pitting right there. Great action so far. You're a part of it. Talk to us about your fuel load. Are you good on the fuel load?
I know that everybody who just pitted here, it's going to be really close. Even if you put on 2 to go, it's going to be really close to the end. So hopefully, if it works, we can get 1 or 2 cautions maybe in, and then we can probably save enough. Or if we just get that 1 caution, go down pit road, and we'll be good to the end.
All right, copy that. Good luck to you, Nathan Sylvia, out here representing Maximum Velocity.
Thank you.
Always trying our best to keep our fans educated and informed, and looking at the broadcasting chat. Michelle making a comment about how the number 3 of Mark Jackson did spin. Well, I tell you what, Michelle, what happened right there as Mark Jackson was trying to get up that slope. That is a pretty steep embankment right there. It's pretty much just like being on snow. These tires are already slick, trying to accelerate going up. You're basically trying to accelerate up a hill. Right there, a low gear would come in awful handy. But what caused that spin was Mark Jackson getting a little bit too heavy on that throttle in combination with some tires needing a little bit of attention in combination with a steep embankment here at Charlotte. Goosed it and got loosed it. James Lehman, Ryan Kuhn, 1 and 2 on this restart. So far, a great race, ladies and gentlemen. We're looking at 35 laps to go. Most of these drivers should have to make 1 more pit stop. Pace car is in. James Lehman, Ryan Kuhn leading us out 1 more time. What a start there by James Lehman. Ryan Kuhn falling down in line onto that inside lane. Nathan Sylvia opting right now just to be a follower, knowing he's got plenty of time to get her done. Behind Nathan Sylvia, we have got Mitchell Reeves trying to work his way up through this field. Right now, 4th truck in line. But in his rearview mirror is Jason Russo, side by side with, here's the beast, Steve Dutz. Big shout out to Jason Russo in the number 14 Pro Automotive. Qualifying 10th, right now in 5th, halfway where he needs to be as Steve Dutz coming down underneath the inside, trying to take Jason Russo on the inside. Not quite successful. Jason Russo able to get back into it. Jason Russo keeping a very close eye on these top 4 drivers in front of him, keeping a very close eye on the number 48 Steve Dutz in his rear view mirror. But right now these top 5 drivers playing follow the leader here on lap 68, knowing they're going to have to go into pit row one more time, just trying to get a little bit of heat built up, trying to get a little bit further down that track tonight. But the front 5 starting to pull away. Jason Russo very tight onto the 02 of Mitchell Reeves. We talk about go time here, ladies and gentlemen, here at Charlotte. In about 10 laps, we're going to be sitting at that go time, depending upon your fuel strategy. You want to be taking it very easy here on the first 70 laps, but in the 30 to the 20 that remain, you do need to start thinking about getting your way up through this pack. Right now, our top 5 showing a lot of patience. Ryan Kuhn, James Lehman, Nathan Sylvia, Mitchell Reeves, Jason Russo. Dropping back to Donald Stewart and Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson getting a good run around the number 78 of Donald Stewart. Donald Stewart looking very sharp out here in that red, white, and blue Chevy Silverado, but keeping a close eye on his rearview mirror as the number 16 of Lee Ryerson driving the general lead tonight. Good old boy right there in the number 16, Lee Ryerson, very sharp paint job, driving the general lead. Confederate flag dropping back one spot is Craig Kinney getting very close to Judd Danielson. Chad Roy off track. A little bit of action there between Craig Kinney and Judd Danielson. Appears Judd Danielson took a little bit of damage, losing momentum right now. Judd Danielson in position 11. I believe he got a little bit of scrape there by the number 90 of Craig Kinney, but no caution will fly. Big shout out to Judd Danielson doing his part tonight to keep it green and clean here at race 4 of 12 in the TNT Tuesday Night Series. Now, speaking about Judd Danielson, 2 things about Mr. Judd. First of all, a big shout out to that truck with the pad logo sitting in the tailgate. Judd Danielson supporting pad, people against distracted driving. Also a big shout out to Judd Danielson. Check him out on Wednesdays and Thursdays in the Domino's TYJ Racing League. Wednesdays and Thursdays with Domino's, along with All Pro Broadcasting. Big shout out to Domino's TYJ Wednesday and Thursdays in their live broadcast with All Pro Broadcasting. Judd Danielson right now in position 12, doing a great job out here tonight. Back up to the front to Jason Russo and Mitchell Reeves battling hard for positions 4 and 5. Mitchell Reeves right now doing a very good job of protecting that 4th place position. Jason Russo trying to get down onto the inside. Mitchell Reeves shutting that door. Jason Russo trying to get every bit of draft he can off of Mitchell Reeves tonight. We are on lap 75. 25 to go. Ladies and gentlemen, this could all be over in about 13 minutes. So we had talked about go time. These drivers do need to start going. But again, I am unsure of their pit row strategy. 02 of Mitchell Reeves and Jason Russo in positions 4 and 5. Ryan Kuhn, James Lehman up there in positions 1 and 2, putting on a very good show. Ryan Kuhn doing everything he can to hold off the number 5 of James Lehman. Big shout out to Mom and Dad Lehman out there watching the number 5 Army guy race against the number 72 Ryan Kuhn. Again, a big shout out to the youth out here tonight at Charlotte. Ryan Kuhn, James Lehman, Nathan Sylvie. All three of these drivers very young. And right now, positions 1, 2, and 3, showing these veterans tonight how to get her done clean and green. James Lehman, a little bit of smack there to the wall. Tires must be getting a little bit worn out, but still plenty of power in that Chevy Silverado. And right now we do have a Chevy Silverado racing against a Toyota Tundra. Well, I tell you what, go on, let's talk about who you think is going to win her tonight. First off, will it be a Chevy Silverado or a Toyota Tundra? And do you think it'll be Ryan Kuhn, James Lehman, or Nathan Sylvia, Mitchell Reeves, Jason Russo, or Steve Dutz? Those are our top 6. Barring pit stops and barring another caution, anything can still happen out here at Charlotte. James Lehman all over the rear end of Ryan Kuhn, but doing it clean and green out here. We are on lap 78 of the Tuesday night TNT. Ryan Kuhn, James Lehman, positions 1 and 2. Nathan Sylvia, position 3. Not sure if he's going to be able to catch up with Ryan and James. One more cycle back through a couple of spots to check in on Steve Dutz and Jason Russo. Jason Russo in position 5. Steve Dutz in position 6. Mitchell Reeves, position 4. Jason Russo still working his way, trying to get around the number 2 of Mitchell Reeves. Every time he does think he gets a run, that door gets shut down by Mitchell Reeves. Great racing going on right there. Going way back in that field as the number 99. The number 99 of Jarrett Lipster going for a ride, and caution will be out. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a look at that on our replay. It does appear that the number 99 of Jarrett Lipster getting a little bit of contact there with the number 33 of Vernon Markheim. It appears that the number 33 of Vernon Markheim did indeed drift up into Jarrett Lipster. Does indeed appear that the number 33 of Vernon Markheim did indeed drift up into the number 99 of Jarrett Lipster, whipping Jarrett Lipster into the wall. As Jarrett Lipster was bouncing off that wall, he did clip the rear end of the number 88, Gary Burt, and was also rear-ended by the number 15 of Ronald Hartfield. Number 76 involved with it as well. I tell you what, that's some great spin-out action there by Ronald Klein and Jarrett Lipster as those Chevy Silverados come to a stop. They were side by side, tight enough to hand a soda to one another. Don't see that very often, but great replay action there by GW Graphics and All Pro Broadcasting. That will bring out our 5th caution of the night, ladies and gentlemen, but still not a bad night tonight out here at all. Ryan Kuhn, James Lehman out here on the front lines. Going to give these drivers a minute to check and see if they're going into pit row. Don't want to disturb them while they're driving into pit row. We practice safe, undistracted driving around here. Does indeed appear, though, that Ryan Kuhn eyeing that pit row, possibly. Got to think about tire situation right here. If I were out there, I definitely would be taking my Chevy Silverado and Toyota Tundra there into pit row to get on some fresh rubber. This will be our 5th caution of the night. 5 lead changes. But Ryan Kuhn and James Lehman and Nathan Sylvia and Mitchell Reeves and Jason Russo opting to stay out. Very interesting situation right there. And I'll tell you what, let's grab a driver and he'll talk to us about this staying out situation. Mitchell Reeves, have you got a copy, sir?
Yeah, we got you, Scott.
Alrighty, now you need to explain to me and my fans right here what is going on. Now I know we're only going to have about a 14-lap shootout. Pretty sure you're good on fuel, but I noticed that Ryan and James and Nathan and Mitchell and even Steve and Jason and Mark did not go into pit row. Is that to insinuate you guys are good on tires?
Oh, no, we actually all went on pit row. There were just a couple lap cars there, but no, we all took tires. We knew that. I think really the top 5 or 6 is going to be even. I think this restart's going to really be interesting. I only have one quick fix. I don't have any quick fixes left now, so I'm going to be really happy just with the top 5 and a good point today. Just need to finish in front of Craig Kenny and get that points lead back. But it's going to be a really good race. I don't know if I have much for the 72, but I'm going to give it a shot. Been tired of finishing second and third. I like to win, but sometimes it's just better to play it safe and get a podium or maybe just top 5. So we're going to see what we can get done here. We tried a little bit of tire strategy there and maybe mix it up a little bit. We're going to see if it'll work or not. But if not, just hope we can have all four corners of this truck clear and a good finish there. So we'll hope for the best.
Alrighty, copy that, but I tell you what, I do got to correct you on one thing. You said you were tired of finishing second and third. Well, you have to remember that last night you did finish first in that KOA Season 2. I ended up with some sound problems last night, so the interview got totally messed up. But hey, real quick, congratulations on that season win last night in KOA Season 2, Monday night.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for KMA and everything you guys do. Won that championship without this series, so thank you guys there.
All right, copy that. Good luck to you, Mitchell.
Yep.
All righty, ladies and gentlemen, Mitchell Reeves tonight, hoping for a podium stance. But I tell you what, Ryan Kuhn, James Lehman, Nathan Sylvia, Steve Dutz, Mark Jackson right now in 6th place, Jason Russo in 7th, Craig Kenny in 8th. These top 8 drivers, we've pretty much been talking about them all night. And sitting there in 9th and 10th is Lee Ryerson Jr. and Gary Whitmer Jr. Now, Gary Whitmer Jr. looking really sharp out there in that pink and black GW attack. Pace car is in, Ryan Kuhn, James Lehman. There goes Ryan Kuhn. Out of that gate, chasing away that runaway donut. James Lehman dropping down in line behind the number 72 of Ryan Kuhn. As Mitchell did tell us, these drivers are fueled up and ready to go, fresh tires. So these drivers now, it is go time, dropping back to the number 48 of Steve Dutz. Steve Dutz coming down on the inside of the number 29 of Nathan Sylvia. Steve Dutz charging hard. Nathan Sylvia down to the inside, very tight maneuvering between Nathan Sylvia and Steve Dutz. Nathan Sylvia on that inside lane, trying to get around the 48 of Steve Dutz. Steve Dutz a little faster on that exit way down the backstretch. Side by side, Steve Dutz gaining momentum at 187, 188, backing her down, topping out at 188, 183, 182, 181, coming around that corner, bottoming out at 180. So Steve Dutz, 185 down to 180, back upon this stretch up to 186, 187, 186, backing her down one more time. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, it does appear about the top speed out here is going to be 186, 187 miles per hour. Steve Dutz side by side with Nathan Sylvia, battling hard for positions 3 and 4, and hot on their tails is the number 90 of Craig Kenny and the 02 of Mitchell Reeves. Jason Russo, Mark Jackson at the tail end of this 6-pack from position 3 to position 8. We are on lap 89 as Craig Kenny is side by side with Steve Dutz. Both of these drivers trying to work their way around the number 29 of Nathan Sylvia. Craig Kenny with a big run down on that inside lane. Craig Kenny doing everything he can. Tight action there with Mitchell Reeves and Jason Russo. Tighter than a hair in a biscuit here on lap 90. Great racing between number 90 and the number 29 of Nathan Sylvia and Craig Kenny. Mitchell Reeves looking at that 3 wide Jason Russo taking it almost 3 wide with Mitchell Reeves. Great running out here. Back up with Steve Dutz. Following Nathan Sylvia up in that high lane across the nose of the number 90 of Craig Kinney. There goes Steve Dutz side by side with Nathan Sylvia. Tight racing for position 3 and 4. I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, Nathan Sylvia in the wall. Nathan Sylvia into the wall. Caution will not fly, but Nathan Sylvia into the wall. Up to the front with James Lehman, Ryan Kuhn, lap 91. Side by side, a little bit of contact as Ryan Kuhn does scrape door handles with the number 5 of James Lehman. I tell you what, folks, James Lehman, Ryan Kuhn, these two young Wildcat red-hot racers tonight here at Charlotte. James Lehman, Ryan Kuhn, positions 1 and 2, and entire second out of Steve Dutz in third place. And Craig Kinney. I tell you what, cameras are going to be locked and loaded on James Lehman, Ryan Kuhn for the rest of the night. James Lehman, a little bit of loss of momentum here as he does get up there and brush that wall just a hair. Ryan Kuhn out here in front. I do believe Ryan Kuhn has possibly led the most laps tonight. Caution is out, ladies and gentlemen. Looking at the number 76 of Ronald Klein. Ronald Klein, round and round and round. Ronald goes. Going to look at that and see exactly what brought out our possible last caution of the night. It does appear that as Ronald Klein went up that wall, driving it up into the wall, making contact with the wall, doing everything he can to stay out of the pathway of other drivers. Great job right there by Ronald Klein, keeping that number 76 out of traffic. But unfortunately, Ronald Klein will bring out our 6th caution of the night here in the Tuesday night TNT Series. We are on lap 94. Big shout out to all these drivers tonight. Definitely has cleaned up their act. It has not been a bad night out here at all here at Charlotte. Looking at Ryan Kuhn and James Lehman, thought they were going into pit row, trying to put a little bit of a sneaky dive and dash in, dive and dash out, trying to lure the number 48 of Steve Dutz into pit row. Ryan trying to lure James in, but it's not happening. Ryan Kuhn, James Lehman, Steve Dutz staying out here tonight. Green out here on lap 95. Going to give us a chance to talk to one more of our race leaders before we wrap this up. How about it, Craig Kinney? Have you got a copy, sir?
Yeah, I got you, Scott.
All right, big shout out to you, driver. Doing a great job out here tonight. We've got some pretty stiff competition up there with Ryan, James, and Steve, and Mitchell and Jason. What are your thoughts on the remaining, we're going to get about a 3-lap shootout?
Well, to be fair, with these races, it always seems once you get in the top 10, I mean, that's when the real work starts, so to speak, where, you know, the competition gets a little tougher. So, starting on the outside, which I don't really prefer, but hope I can get a good restart here, and James gets a good restart as well, and see what we can make happen, you know, out of turn 2 down into turn 3.
Okay, now talk to me about how important qualifying was, because what I'm looking at is Ryan qualified first, and he is in first. Lehman qualified third, is in second. Steve qualified 8th, is in third. And you and Mitchell qualified 11th and 12th, are in 4th and 5th. Was qualifying really a big deal to you tonight?
Yeah, it does, because it seems that the track's pretty narrow. So, I mean, track position definitely plays a favor, especially up front, you know, even just staying out of trouble in case there's any in front of you. So I'd say, you know, especially tonight, qualifying was quite important for everybody.
Copy that. Good luck to you tonight, Craig Kinney.
Thanks, Scott.
And we are getting ready to get back to what will be a great finish tonight here at Charlotte. I tell you what, these drivers tonight have done a very much impressive job as to what we had last night. The numbers are definitely a lot lower. 6 cautions, 7 lead changes tonight. Charlotte has been pretty much dominated by Ryan Kuhn, James Lehman, Steve Dutz, and Craig Kinney, putting on quite the show. Mitchell Reeves and Jason Russo will be lined up 5th and 6th, and Mark Jackson not out of it yet. Mark Jackson in position 7. Big shout out to the fans out there keeping me company out there on that All-Pro Broadcasting chat. Michael Lawler, Mom and Dad Lehman, Michelle McMaster Eisenhower, Becky Whitmer, and the host of other drivers. All right, I tell you what, get that mouse over that little line right there. Start typing in who you think is going to bring it home tonight in race 4 of the TNT Series. Tell me what is on your mind out here. These drivers are on 1 to go. Once these drivers do take the green flag, it'll be lap 98. We're going to be looking at a 3-lap shootout. James Lehman, Ryan Kuhn, Craig Kenny, Steve Dukes, Mitchell Reeves, Jason Russo, our top 6. We've got 22 drivers on the lead lap, Chad Roy being that last driver. Greg McClendon still in the field in position 9, along with Gary Whitmer Jr. in position 13, restarting down on that inside lane. Drivers are coming around for what will be their last lap of caution. Once these drivers do complete 1 lap, if that caution does fly, it will freeze this field, and whoever is in front at the freezing of the field will win race 4. But hopefully it'll go green flag, and there goes Ryan Kuhn on the inside, James Lehman on the outside. Number 48, Steve Dukes in 3rd position, all over the rear end of James Lehman. Right now, folks, Ryan Kuhn, all he has to do is drive a good line. He's on good tires, plenty of fuel to get the job done, and a trendsetter all night. Steve Dukes pushing all over the rear end of James Lehman, trying to push James Lehman up into the draft of that number 72 Toyota Tundra by being driven by Ryan Kuhn. Steve Dukes looking at the door to open on the inside. The door is open. Steve Dukes knocking. James Lehman saying, "You cannot come in quite yet." James Lehman trying to get around the number 72 of Ryan Kuhn. Steve Dukes watching this struggle. And there goes James Lehman with a big duck down to the inside. The door has opened up, but rear end collision with the number 90 and the number 48 of Steve Dukes. Ladies and gentlemen, not sure if that will throw the caution out. Cameras were locked and loaded. We do know that Steve Dukes got into the rear end of James Lehman. And as Steve Dukes did make that collision, he did back her off. But unfortunately, the number 90 was sitting right there, barely tapping onto the number 48. Well, I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what could have been done to alter that situation right there. That was racing at its finest. We did see Steve Dukes trying to back off of that throttle of the number 5 of James Lehman. We do know that number 90 was trying to back her down as well. But unfortunately, Craig Kenny coming into contact with the rear end of the number 48. And the number 48 of Steve Dukes going for a spin, as does the number 90 of Craig Kenny. Mitchell Reeves, unfortunately, will be collected into it as well. A heartbreaker right there, I know indeed, for Mitchell Reeves, having high hopes out here tonight. Jason Russo, though, actually appears like he was able to avoid the melee right there. Ladies and gentlemen, that will seal the deal tonight here at Charlotte. And it will be Ryan Kuhn, James Lehman, and Jason Russo, our 1, 2, and 3 spots. Jason Russo, have you got a copy, sir?
I got you, Scott.
All right, you talked to me about that last-minute action. We do know that James Lehman was on a move around Ryan Kuhn as Steve Dukes got up on him real tight, and then we witnessed Craig Kenny getting into the rear end of Steve. Mitchell was collected, and you drove through it. Talk to me about those quick 5 seconds.
It was crazy. Me and Mitchell were kind of bumping fences there, going through 3 and 4, and they were spinning in front of us, and I just had the lucky line, went in between them, and got third out of it.
All right, you copy that very briefly. Talk to me about Pro Automotive, and thank you for tonight's sponsorship.
thank you for having us, Scott, and thanks for all the fans out there that come out and watch. And Pro Automotive, we're in Dudley, Massachusetts. Check us out online on Facebook or at www.proautomotivema.com.
Copy that. Big shout out to Jason Russo, the sponsor of the night, bringing home a very solid number 3. Good job, Jason.
Thanks, Scott.
Joining us in that number 2 spot is the number 5 of James Freeman, bringing home a podium tonight for Mom and Dad. Talk to me, James.
How's it going, Scott?
Doing very good. What an exciting finish right there. Saw that your buddy Steve gave you a little bit of a slight rear end. Narrow disaster avoidance for you. Talk to me about that.
Well, I knew Ryan was gonna throw a little bit of a block there, and I kind of expected it, so I was gonna throw it in there deep in 3, but I knew it wasn't gonna stick. So, and it's just not worth wrecking somebody for a win. I don't like doing that, so I let out of it, and then Steve got right in the back of me, and then if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Craig who got into his left rear and then went around and took out a big chunk of the field right there at the very end. Other than that, it was a very good race. Me and Ryan put on one heck of a show. I'm gonna go back and actually watch this broadcast because I know for those last 20 laps it was just wow.
Copy that. We had those cameras locked on you. James Lehman, you did a most excellent job out here tonight, sir. Big shout out to your mother and father. They've got to be awful proud. Good job, James.
Thank you.
Ryan Kuhn, our winner tonight. Talk to me.
Yes, sir.
How was your race?
Man, this is one heck of a race. Nice, clean racing, long runs. This is just how I like it, and I don't think I've ever raced that clean, that hard, and just I don't think I've ever raced that great around James. And I mean, that's the best racing I've ever had with anybody before, and that's probably the most fun I've ever had in a truck here, and that's a lot. That means a lot. So one heck of a race me and James put on. So it was pretty cool.
Alrighty, copy that. Before I let you go, I do want to make mention of this. You came in here on race 1, and you won her. You came in here on race 2, and you won her. You didn't come in here on race 3, so you didn't win, but you come back on race 4, and you win. Are you just that good, brother?
I don't know. Sometimes a couple of those races were just luck of the draw. The Daytona one kind of got a little lucky on that one. Caution came out early, and I think this one too. I think if James could have had that stick with 3 and 4, he would have got the lead and probably took over the win. But so it's just one heck of a race. This league, these league members in this league just are really good, really talented, just really hard to race around, and it's just that's what makes it that much more fun. Just to race around really good drivers, that means a lot. So just one heck of a race. I'd like to shout out to KMA, everybody from KMA. Really, really good racing with these guys.
All right, thank you very much, Ryan Kuhn, and congratulations, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
All righty, ladies and gentlemen, I do hope you did enjoy the broadcast tonight. It went much better than it did last night. These drivers did a great job. We ended up with a late caution, but 6 cautions. We're going to call that 5.5 cautions. I am very proud of this field tonight. Ryan Kuhn, James Lehman, Jason Russo, big shout out to Pro Automotive for bringing us TNT Tuesday here at Charlotte in race 4. Big shout out to Over the Top Paints and Designs. Big shout out to the fans. Big shout out to PAD, PADD.org, and big shout out to my good friend Mike D'Amico. Great job on that camera action tonight with All Pro Broadcasting. And we will check you out on Friday, ladies and gentlemen, on the Friday night flights. And we are out of here.
Time to explode, boys. Just make sure you get home, boys. They got your back, the pride of the fleets, the pipe swinging forward, man. You're the UDT. They don't do it for the money. They do it for the country. It's not about the fame. They do it for the. They do it for the. They do it for the USA. Ooh yeah. The big boys club, nobody does it quite the way a SEAL team does. Clean in, clean out, the boys are the best, and they'll be coming for your shells in the deck. So if you see a fallen man coming with guns, you better reconsider whose side you're on. These boys are ghosts, team of the Reaper, and they'll be more than happy to deliver you back to your maker. They don't do it for the money, they do it for the country. It's not about the fame. They do it for the, they do it for the, they do it for the USA. They don't do it for the money, they do it for the country. It's not about the fame, they do it for the USA. They don't do it for the money, they do it for the country. It's not about the fame, they do it for the USA. They don't do it for the money, they do it for the country.